What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and this is going to be my build guide and analysis for Bride Larum. So she's a 167 BST Lance Flyer and she's the first free-to-play Binding Blade Dancer that we have in the game, and this is really good to have for resonant battles and also for limited hero battles where Binding Blade is going to be the bonus title. She comes with a new inheritable weapon in Bridal Sunflower Plus, and this provides you plus 5 attack and defense in combat, and it also has half bonus doubler built into it. So the bonus doubler in this weapon is only going to be present for attack and defense, and this can be a pretty good thing if you're going to be running visible buffs and also menace skills like attack, defense, menace. But unfortunately Larum herself is not going to be making the most use out of this kind of weapon. Still, it's a decent inheritable option for many units, but keep in mind that bonus doubler is always going to be susceptible to lull attack defense and also to dull all effects and panic. She also has attack cantrip and guidance in her base kit, and we didn't really have these skills before on a grail unit, so it's definitely a pretty nice option to be had. And guidance is a really good skill that could be run on many flying units like flying dancers and even flying units in arena, so that you can have better movement. And a lot of times running this in slot C can open up your sacred seal for running some other movement skills like aerobatics maybe. So having guidance finally in the grail pool is really good. I just hope that at some point they could also add aerobatics to a grail unit. Attack cantrip is a pretty nice and universally useful cantrip skill on a dancer, but it's really hard to beat Wings of Mercy and other teleportation skills for a dancer. As for her stat spread, she does have good speed at base 40, and it also has a super boon in it. Unfortunately, her attack stat is kinda lacking at base 32, which is something you'll expect out of a dancer, and then she does have good resistance but lower defense and HP. She's of course gonna be compared a lot to Dancer Eldigan, especially when he's available as a format dancer as of making this video. The difference between these two dancers is immense. So the higher defense of Eldigan makes him a really fantastic anti-melee dancer for the Dark Season in Aether Raids defense, and his higher HP also helps him be anti-Bridal Fiorm for the Anima Season in Aether Raids defense. And keep in mind that Bridal Fiorm is going to be getting a weapon refine in July, so depending on how good her weapon refine is going to be, she might be appearing a lot more. So having higher defense and HP is always going to be helping Eldigan have better resilience towards isolation, which a lot of dancers do not. And Eldigan also has significantly more attack than Larum, so this allows him to use Heavy Blade 4 to function as a Gale Force dancer in Aether Raids offense. Dancer Larum on the other hand is going to be a lot more susceptible to isolation, so she doesn't really have that competitive niche which Eldigan has got, but still Larum does have a lot more speed than Eldigan, and she can use her resistance for running sabotage skills, and she's not going to be the best user of Heavy Blade 4 because her attack is not that high like Eldigan, so that's why she's always going to be paired up with Thor for a Gale Force team in Aether Raids offense. And when we're talking about Thor with both of these dancers, I feel like Larum can Gale Force a bit better because she has more speed, so she can naturally double, which Eldigan is not able to do. But still, the extra bulk of Eldigan can even help in a Gale Force team where you have to leave an enemy alive so that you can collect the pots. And because Eldigan is not that fast, oftentimes in his enemy phase for a Gale Force team, he's not going to be able to kill that remaining unit, and that can always help you get the pots. So overall, Bride Larum is a pretty nice free-to-play dancer, but she's going to be having trouble competing against Dancer Eldigan, especially when he's available as a Forma. So the opportunity cost of building up Eldigan goes down significantly, and you can easily get the premium skills on him and just invest into him instead. We have seen a lot of dancers which are fast and they don't have a lot of attack, but a dancer like Eldigan who's really bulky and also has good attack stat is a lot more rare, I would argue. And it's really unfortunate time for Bridal Larum exactly when Forma Eldigan is available. So if you want to use Larum on a budget for limited hero battles or resonant battles, then you just have to run Fury 3 in her slot A, and you can just run Wings of Mercy 3, which is a pretty universal skill for any kind of dancer, and slot C is quite flexible and you can just speed refine her weapon. But if you want to give her a more supportive weapon, then Allied Lance Plus is a pretty nice option from Karen, and this does have Joint Drive defense and Joint Drive attack built into it, so Larum can support her allies even more with this weapon compared to Bridal Sunflower, which is a lot more combat oriented. And I feel like at Unmerged, Larum is really not going to be entering into combat that much, so Allied Lance ends up becoming a pretty nice option, and this may actually help you in some Abyssal maps where Binding Blade characters are allowed. Ground orders is something that you can use for having better mobility, especially if you're going to be using near save and far save armors like Idun and Ascended Idun, which are present for Binding Blade. And if you want to invest fully into her offenses and make her into an offensive dancer, then you can run Springy Lance Plus, which can provide her with even more attack and speed, and attack speed catch 4 with a Trace skill. And even if you're not going to be running a full-on offensive build, a Trace skill on a dancer is still always really good so that they can retreat after dancing. And you can just maximize her offenses by running the Rain skill and also Blade Session. So she can be really fast and offensive with this build and also dance her allies. Now on Gale Force teams, having a dancer who can have 2 actions is going to be really amazing because you can just jump in with Wings of Mercy, kill an enemy and then get the Gale Force, and then you can dance up an ally. And so that kind of support is really invaluable for a Gale Force team, and I would really suggest you to only run her in the Aster season along with Thor. I really would not suggest running Heavy Blade because I have used Dancer Eldigan in the Light season a lot before Thor was even in the game, and like it was really hard for my Eldigan many times to trigger his Heavy Blade effect. And Eldigan has significantly more attack than Larum, and if he was having trouble triggering Heavy Blade all those months ago, then Larum is going to be having even harder time triggering Heavy Blade. So that's why I don't really think that she should be running Heavy Blade. Her attack is simply not enough in the modern times, and it's also really hard to trigger Heavy Blade in Aether Raids offense when you have mythics like Seros, Bramimond, and Medius, all of these mythics that give extra attack, and you also have units like Duopini who can pretty much give like +10 attack. So it all becomes really hard, and using her with Thor is going to be a lot more helpful. So Thor could be the initiator, and you can pretty much just jump in with Larum by using Wings of Mercy. And if you don't have access to its Curdance, then you can simply run Slaying Lance with Gale Force, and in 2 hits you can trigger Gale Force. Now sometimes she might be able to one-shot a dancer like Mirabilis for example, so that's why its Curdance build is also pretty helpful at max investment, and you can run a skill like Attack Speed Catch 4 just so that you can get even more throughput for her offenses. So Sparrow 3 can also work out honestly because she's only going to be working in her player phase, and a Rain skill is really helpful so that she can get extra damage and also help her allies. So with its Curdance and Quick and Pulse, you're able to bring down the cooldown of Gale Force to 2, and this allows you to simply attack once and trigger Gale Force, and even if the opponent has got some kind of guard effect, because of having this special acceleration from the World Breaker skill of Thor, you're still going to be able to trigger that against the guard unit if you're able to double. So its Curdance definitely has a big niche for one-tap Gale Force and for making Gale Force a lot more reliable. But unfortunately, you will have to use your Sacred Seal for running Quick and Pulse, and having the Attack Ivy is going to be helping Larum tremendously so that she can just close out the combats. And finally, if you want to invest into her resistance to make use of a Sabotage skill, then Stillwater 4 is an option which can increase her attack and also increase your resistance. Compared to Fortress Defense Res, which is going to be lowering Larum's attack even further, so she's not going to be that much available offensively. She does have attack cantrip, but you can run Sabotage attack for a long range debuff support, and you're going to be debuffing so many enemies at the same time. So this kind of build could be run on Aether Raids defense as well, and she's not going to be having much trouble just having more resistance than Elamine if you do end up running Phantom Resistance. And finally, if you don't really care too much about arena scoring, then you can run Beedle Flying Larum. I really would not recommend this if you're trying to chase after scores because Dance is a 150 SP skill and that just brings down your overall score really low. So having higher scoring unit is always going to be helpful in arena, especially when the cutoffs have been pretty insane. But I guess if you just want to make your matches easier and you just want to use Bridal Larum in arena, then this could be an option, but definitely not the best in terms of scoring. So that is going to be my review. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously, and if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using Super Thanks or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more FEH videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Larum against isolation. So with that, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.